begin this talk about how a world ends, we must first see how a world begins. It starts with its origin. It grows, it expands, eventually it reaches its limits, where the border dissolves and fragments. The world of virtual reality is a world that is in its origin in our modern times, and it's growing, and it's expanding, and eventually, one day, it will reach its limits, dissolve and fragment at the border. What entities will live out in the periphery of virtual reality, waiting for the technology to arrive so that they may enter it and interact with us? What would they have to offer? To begin to answer this, I introduce you to a game called Red Carpet Alleyway. You're walking along. You notice something odd. 2 barrels on fire on either side of a dark alleyway. And normally you may not enter this, but this time you do. There's something drawing you in. It's a red carpet in the alley, and at the end of the red carpet is a box. What's inside that box? A VR headset and a bodysuit with motion detectors all over it. Naturally, you put these things on there in the alley, and the game begins. You're in the back of a limousine, and the door opens up, and outside of this limousine is a Hollywood event, and you're the star. The paparazzi is taking photos of you. Your mission is to pose for the paparazzi the best way you can. Then you enter the lightning round. The lightning round is your 15 minutes of fame. When you've reached the point of celebrity where everyone's paying attention and you have to pose like you're on the cover of all the biggest magazines. Even address your sexuality. Show how bulletproof you are to the industry waiting to devour you. And as you're lost in this game, someone is watching you. And that person is the game developer. So while you're on the highest ego trip you've felt in who knows how long, flashing cameras, you're at the height of your fame, in sneaks the game developer, and he takes your wallet. And the game is rigged. Eventually you lose. You know by definition 15 minutes of fame only lasts so long. And you lose favor with the public, and your celebrity level goes down, and it's game over. You take off the headset. You're back in the alleyway, and your wallet is gone. And whatever was in your wallet, well, that's how much it costs to play the game. Red Carpet Alleyway. Now, who is this game developer? Well, he's none other than Dank Basementonia.
Huh?
Dank Basementonia. Dank Basementonia is many things. He's a hacker. He's a game developer. He's a functioning derelict. And last, he's a visionary. And Dank would show the world what he was made of. You see, his nickname was D+, because that was his grade average in school. He became disgruntled and resentful, but also tenacious as he taught himself how to hack and how to program. And he would show the world what D+ could really do. With a chip on his shoulder, he entered the world of smartphones with a little app called Pokemon Go, which was long forgotten at this point. And Dank knew exactly where he could put that D+ to make Pokemon God. And in this long forgotten app, he reintroduced it to the public by making a meme. The meme he posted on 4chan. He posted on Reddit. Brand new Pokemon Go creature. With the GPS coordinates, everyone flocked to it. And as they went there, this is what they saw. All the Pokemon characters sitting in a circle staring at the center. A strange scene. They raise their hands and create a fiery portal. But it's no ordinary augmented reality smartphone game fiery portal. No, this also appears in front of everyone in the real world. To have something be in your smartphone and then suddenly show up in the real world, that's the same principle Tinder is based on. Before you can comprehend what's going on and you're feeling the heat on your face, a demon emerges. As soon as it grabs your smartphone with its sharp, pointy fingers, it disappears. And it's back in your smartphone. As the demon laughs in your face through the screen, your phone heats up, getting hotter and hotter until you can't hold it anymore, and as you drop it, it bursts into flames. And that's how Dank Basementonia rid the world of 90% of its smartphone devices. Now, to get into his next challenge, we have to see where virtual reality is at this stage in the game. A headset with wires, and it's a neurotechnology using pattern analysis and image reconstruction to create artificial scenarios based on how it reads the fault lines in your own mind. The parts of your psyche where there are rifts and valleys containing all the things you've ignored, your blind spots, your traumas. It creates scenarios. It replays these traumas to you, and you can watch them again and again and remember and relive them and begin to cry and sob as you're inducted into all the sadness you have hidden away. The point of this scenario is to save the tears in your VR headset and pour them into a bucket. And as you get enough tears and enough buckets full of tears, you empty them and heat up that bathtub full of tears. You put on the VR headset and you bathe in your own tears. And there's a sensor, and it can tell you that you have now begun to bathe in your tears. You've purged enough emotion, and the game changed from introducing you to trauma to healing the parts of you that were once broken. And this is how vulnerable people are now to the technology of virtual reality. And Dank Basementonia, he was ready to take full advantage of everyone's vulnerability. He just needed an in. He needed a method. So his chosen method was the Ouija board. The Ouija board is a board game with a lot of stigma around it. You place your hands on the selector with a group of people, and dead spirits are meant to move the selector and choose words, and spell out words to communicate with you from the underworld. And the stigma is that those dead spirits are nasty demons. Here's a meme to say. The Ouija board is not a portal to your dead relatives. It's a portal to demons pretending to be your dead relatives. So Dank Basementonia launched his own VR console, the D+ VR. And just like Nintendo had Super Mario and Sega had Sonic the Hedgehog, D+ VR had the Ouija board VR game, and he promoted the hell out of it. Make Ouija safe again. And he toured this D+ VR. He even went on Larry King to answer the question everyone was asking. Ouija, is it safe now? Here's how the game works. People wear their headsets. They're laying their hands down with motion detector gloves, and this board floats in front of them in the VR space as they select the letters with their involuntary muscle movements. Where are we in the virtual reality world at this stage? We're about here, just on the edge of the fragmenting border. Here, it's imposed right above the game players' heads. Entities waiting to control the game. How is it possible that Dank made this happen? Well, he sent the underworld passcodes so they could enter this world through VR, creating a Ouija board game that was actually dangerous. Because as people selected letters, it was really a ghost punching in the passcode into their VR headset. And once they had the passcode plugged in, they could enter the material plane And the last thing you see is this. And as the discarnate spirit takes hold, it shorts out your device, and what people are left with is severe cognitive dissonance and a broken VR console. But that's not all. They had actually been possessed and animated by dead spirits, influencing their lifestyle. And that is how Dank Basementonia got rich, destroying people's trust in virtual reality, leaving them haunted and possessed. It took a while for people to catch on to his malevolence, and this movement to fight back began through Christian propaganda. Here's an example from a pamphlet handed out on the street. Here's someone before the influence of D plus VR, during D plus VR, and finally after. So now the question is, what happened to old Dank Basementonia? D plus and his fiendish ways, destroying people's lives, haunting so much of planet Earth with dead ghosts that want nothing more than just to live it up through living bodies. Well, all the discarnate spirits that Dank hacked into the material plane, they caught wind of his greedy intentions, and one by one, they all started to pay old D plus a visit, and it wasn't pretty. And I think that's a good place to end. But before I go, everything related to Dank Basementonia, his name, his character, the stories surrounding him, let me just make my point clear. All right? Done.